bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We're meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me, meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Good evening, Glitter Gang. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday night. It's time to work on the waterfall portion of the Catch a Tag Remastered program. But before I do that, I'm going to do a quick recording for YouTube related to the National Scrapbook Day project, which was... if you wanted to make a Polaroid and you didn't have an envelope punch or a frame punch, what would you do? So I'm going to show you what you would do. And this is going to be its own separate video, and it'll be in the Project X playlist on YouTube as well as in the archives. So I'm just going to make one to hold a 4x6 photo, which is 4 1/4 by 7 1/4. But I'm just going to cut a 4 1/4 inch strip first because I want to take the tab. I want to do the tab. So step 1 is get a 4 1/4 inch strip of cardstock. All right. And then step 2 is you're going to make your tab. And the way that you're going to make your tab is to mark a 1/2 inch lightly on the back in pencil. You're going to want to be able to erase this. 1/2 inch down from the top. And then whatever you want your tab to be, so let's say we want it 2 1/2 inches in from the other side. All right. And then you're going to go a 1/2 inch in. Remember, we're making a tab when we don't have a tab punch. Okay, so that's the request. So we're going to come a 1/2 inch in from there, and then we're going to come a 1/2 inch in from here. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to connect to make your tab. You're going to connect from here to here and from here to here, and that's going to give you a sort of trapezoid shape. All right. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut from here, cut from the edge in to the angle, up the angle, down the angle. So that's how you get the top, how you get the tab. And again, this is if you don't have the frame punch, if you don't have the envelope punch, but you still want to make something that has the same visual effect as the tab. So see, that looks close enough to a tab that I think you'll be happy if you don't have these tools with how close you get to the look. All right, now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut from 7 1/4 inches down from this. Okay, so it's 4 1/4 inches across, 7 1/4 inches down total, but not from the tab, from this edge. So that's where we need to make our next mark. So just gonna line this up on my mat. Go to 7 1/4. And this is where I'm going to cut it off because that's the bottom. All right. Then that's how we get the exterior. So now the question is, how do we get the interior? We're going to mark a line 1 inch in from the bottom. And a 1/4 inch in from both long sides. And a 1/4 inch in from the top, but again, it's from this line, not from the tab. And then again, another 1/4 inch here. Okay. So this is your shape. Now you have 2 ways you can approach this. If you don't care whether or not the inside corners are rounded, then at this point you just cut that out and you're done. That's it. That's all it takes. If you want those inside corners to be rounded, you're going to need to get your big bite. And I'm going to use the 3/16 hole, which is the larger hole. And I'm going to punch a hole in that corner. So I want to punch a hole so that the 2 sides of the hole are touching those 2 lines. All right, and then once I've done that, I no longer need the big bite. The big bite is done. And now all I'm gonna do is cut the insides out. So you're just gonna cut along this line from the bottom of one corner to the other. There is no order history in the shop. If you want to check what all you've ordered, send an email to sales@kathrynscraps.com and we can look it up in PayPal. Just make sure that when you email us, you tell us what email is associated with your PayPal and we'll be able to look it up. Because we can pull your order history with us. But yeah, the store does not track purchases. All right, so you see how that's coming out. And again, you're not cutting all the way to the corner, you're just cutting to and from the circles. Because you want that rounded corner. So this is, you know, again, you can skip this circle step if you don't care about a rounded corner. But if you want it to have that kind of rounded interior corner, this is how you get it. And then that's it. Now you have this. So that you're finished. Now you've gotten as far as I would have gotten with the frame punch and the normal punch. You can round the corners if you want to, put a photo behind it, but that is how you would make one of those tabbed Polaroids if you don't have the envelope punch board or the frame punch board. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey everybody, it's Thursday night. It's 9/11 on May 21st. And we're here to continue working on the Catch a Tag Remastered project. What we're going to be doing in this episode is we're going to be doing the waterfall pages and putting the waterfalls into the 3-page B's that we have. So that's going to be the project for tonight. Hopefully we'll get them done. I have a frame or a tabbed Polaroid here on my desk. I had a request to do a tutorial on how you would make one of these without any frame punches or any punch boards from We Are Memory Keepers just with a ruler and a pencil, and so I did that. So if you're looking for that, that'll be in the Project X folio in folder in the archives. If you have access to archives, if you don't, it'll be in the National Scrapbook Day Project X playlist on my YouTube channel. All right, so let us work on the envelopes. Now I already started prepping these while I was hanging out up here, so I'm almost well, I'm not almost done, but I've done half of, I've scored half of them, so that's good. Uh-oh, in the chat they're like, how is it May 21st? It's so funny because this afternoon when you couldn't hear me, I said it's kind of weird that it's May 21st because it both feels like it's been an impossibly long journey to get here to May 21st, but also that it shouldn't be May 21st yet. And then I said, don't worry, May 21st doesn't even exist. It's a completely human made up construct. There's no place in nature where you can see May 21st. You can't measure it with a microscope. So it's not even real. So don't let it stress you out. I don't know if that helps, but if it does, you're welcome. This has been another episode of Philosocrafting with Kathryn. Today's topic, time and why it doesn't matter. Deb says, wow, we missed a lot when we couldn't hear you. I know. You did miss a lot. I was really happy about 2020. I thought 2020, I mean, I had a good 2019. So, you know, 2018 was bad for me more so than 2019. So, you know, I was looking forward to 2020 as a continuation of the personal improvements I'd made in 2019. But, you know, whatever. I'll take Murder Hornets instead, I guess. I'll take Murder Hornets for 200, Alex. Speaking of Murder Hornets, Mr. Lifeguard sent me this. I gotta find it. Okay. So it's a timeline of 2020, and it starts with January, Australia catches fire. February, Kobe Bryant dies. March, the virus that shall not be named is coming to kill us all. April, the economy crashes. UFOs turn out to be real. May, giant murder hornets. And then it says, you are here. And then for June, it says, underground crab people are discovered and they eat humans. July, apes with guns on horseback come for the human race. August, Godzilla comes out of the ocean and he's pissed. September, zombie outbreak as a result of the virus vaccine testing. October, My Little Pony turns out to be completely real and also they eat humans. November, second wave of crab people. December, Cthulhu comes out of the ocean and he's pissed. January 2021, aliens invade. February 2021, Cleveland Browns win the Super Bowl. March 2021, The Rapture. And then April 2021, the Avengers 5 comes out. So there's your schedule for the rest of the year. Cthulhu, that's bad. Yeah, Cthulhu's always bad. It's always bad when you get Cthulhu. Ellen, 2020, same for me. Virus and everything. Gretchen says, no, don't make me watch another Avengers movie. That's the real big bad coming up. That's the real big bad. All right. So I'm going to try to remember how to cut these. So that'll be fun. But I'm pretty sure I cut to the middle line, right? On both of them. And then I cut up to the middle line and then I turn it and cut up to the middle line. Right? You don't know. Who's supposed to be teaching what? Yes, this looks right. Okay, so that is what you do. So from one side you cut up to the middle line, and on the other side you cut up to the middle line so that it looks like this. Jill says, I advise not making a purchase during a pandemic because everything is 100 times harder. So speaking of making major purchases during a pandemic, the Toyota dealership's having a sale right now, and I know I've mentioned this a ton of times, but in case you didn't know, we have one car. We bought it in July of 2008. So it's 12 years old. And it has 125,000 miles on it, and it's only needed 2 repairs in its lifespan, which are, it needed the alternator replaced. We replaced the timing belt at the same time, since you have to take it off to replace the alternator anyway. And it needed an O2 sensor replaced. Other than that, it's just needed normal car stuff, brake pads, tires, etc. And so we've always been very happy with our car, but with all the car deals right now, I thought, well, maybe we should try and take advantage of one of these car deals and, you know, get a car before this one like dies. That way, you know, we don't have to just take whatever is available when it dies. And I was talking to my sister about it. The story is going to have a point, I promise. And I said, the only thing is, like, if our car would have lasted even one more year, which it almost certainly will, then that washes out any potential advantage from having purchased the car while it's on super sale, because we've just made a year of payments that we didn't need to make. And she said to me, and I want to remind you that she has been living with us since 2017. So we are kind, all right, to this little whippersnapper. But she said, well, I mean, your argument only works if you would if it would cause you to buy one additional car over the course of your lifetime if you buy a car this year instead of next year. And she's like, and let's be real, the next car you buy is probably going to be your last car. And I said, I'm 40. Like, I mean, how? And so she said, well, yeah, but you keep cars until they have like 200,000 miles on them and you only drive like 6 miles a year. So, so I'm in jail now. I'm broadcasting from jail. They were nice enough to let me continue to do the show. So I told my mom, and she said, oh, well, we just bought a car in 2017. And then she said, but your car is really old and you probably should replace it before it has problems. And then I was like, what is with people thinking 12-year-old cars are really old? Like, this is getting, you know. I know, even after she tried to steal all my underwear and I didn't murder her. I know. Yeah, see, I think that our car has a lot more life in it. So, I'm not too worried about it. I emailed with the salespeople at the Toyota and they sent me videos of the cars. Because we were thinking about getting a RAV4 hybrid. And they essentially helped us to understand that we would rather have a Highlander hybrid, but Highlander hybrids are so expensive that we would want a larger down payment than what we have available right now. So, I'm just gonna say we're just gonna put some money aside for whatever if our car falls apart, but I think it's gonna last several more years. So, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it. All right, so once you get it to this state where you've got, the two little arms, you're going to cut off the two little arms. So that's the next step. So but we also might just save a bunch of money and not get a hybrid because we don't drive that much. We don't commute, so so I don't know. Who knows? I probably will not do anything related to cars for, I'm hoping, 5 more years. I would like to, my personal goal, and Mr. Lifeguard and I have discussed it, is we'd like to try and get this car to $250,000. So that's kind of the goal. It's a Toyota. It can get there. I have faith in it. So it's just going to take a long time because we do not drive very often because we don't commute to work. So it's going to take us, I mean, the car is 12 years old and has 125,000 miles on it, which is low mileage. For its age, for its model. And then what I ultimately would like to do is I would like to, when it's still working, but I'm done with it, like emotionally over it or whatever, I want to hand it down to someone if I can. So maybe a friend's kid or something. Have them pay me for it so that they, feel invested in taking care of it, but not very much. My first car I got for $5 from my cousin. It didn't have a working engine at the time. So, I mean, $5. Liz isn't gonna get it. No. Liz has a new SUV, so she doesn't need. She has some kind of Hyundai. Starts with a K maybe? Kona, yes, Kona. All right, so you cut off these strips. Sounds like we're all old car people. Yeah. Plenty of you have cars older than my car, so I feel fine about my decision not to buy a new car right now. I might replace some of the suspension just to give it a smoother ride. One thing I will just pass as a piece of advice. We got a sport tuned car. I don't recommend that. It's been kind of a hassle, especially with tires. It has abnormal tires, so anytime we need a new tire, it's got to be special ordered. So don't get sport tuned vehicles. Sport tuned, those are like the sporty racy version of a car. So like our car has low profile racing tires. Those are a huge pain. The wheels are a huge pain. Bev says, I like the gas mileage I've been getting lately. 2 weeks to the gallon. Well, and we're paying under $2 for gas, which in Florida is just bananas. Just bananas. Because, you know, Florida, we don't have state income tax. So if states without state income tax, you know, at the pump is one place where you pay your taxes. Yeah. It is going back up. It is. Well, it's funny because our insurance company, our car insurance company emailed us and said they were refunding X amount of money to everyone because, you know, they recognize that not everyone's driving right now. So they're doing their part for relief or whatever. And, well, barrel prices went into the negative. So the only real direction for them to go was up. Okay. So once you get it to this point, all right, you have one corner that's got, you know, an intersection, and we're going to put tape here, and then we're going to fold that over and make the pocket, and then we'll be here. So I'm going to notch my corners. You got $1 back from your insurance? Oh, that's infuriating. But what we did was we contacted our insurance company and we were like, hey, we never drive anywhere. So can we get a rate reduction? And so they calculated what mileage we actually drive in a year, and they did give us a permanent rate reduction. Oh, we got like $50, guys. We have USAA though. So All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna chomp my corner. And I'm gonna chomp all my corners. You have USA ain't got nothing. Huh. Well, I will say that Florida car insurance is some of the most expensive car insurance in the United States. So maybe how much you normally pay determines how much you get. Because we are always paying a ton. They emailed us that we were getting a reduction. And then when we saw that they were giving everyone reductions for not driving because of the current situation, then we contacted them about a permanent rate reduction because we never drive, because we both work from home. And so they calculated, you know, how much we drive based on the mileage on our car and how old it is, and they agreed and they gave us a permanent rate reduction. So I don't know how they're determining who gets what. But yeah, they gave us the idea that we should ask, because we don't commute, so we don't put a lot of miles on a car. See, and my insurance doubled when we moved from Virginia to Florida. And I was like, why? And they're like, it's Florida. So, well, I would contact them then, Judy, because we did. We just adjusted our mileage with them, and our rate went down. Because of that we don't drive. I think Florida is partially because there's a lot of property crime, and that often affects cars, but also partially because we have some loosey-goosey road laws. Like, there's no safety inspections. Your car can be on fire. You can get it registered. Stuff like that. All right, so once I've chomped all these corners. Okay, so Ella says her husband asked for a reduction, and a couple years ago for the same reason that they don't drive since retiring, and they lowered it. So if you can push it, you can register it. Yeah, if it yeah, if you can push it in there. So that's. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark the corners with a pencil, and I'm going to cut this notch out so that I can keep my flap intact. So I'm just going to cut this little triangle out of all of them. So that's what I'm going to do. I remember once in Virginia, I didn't get my safety inspection done for, I don't know, I think when I looked down at it, it was like 10 months, it had expired like 10 months ago. And I was like, let's just see if I can get away with it and go for a full year. I did not get away with it. I had a cop pull me over, and he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, oh, yes. And he said, why? And I said, well, because I haven't been a good citizen, and I've been endangering the lives of my fellow Virginians by not doing my safety inspection. And he started laughing, like, hysterically, I guess. Nothing funny had happened that whole day. And so he gave me a fix-it ticket instead of a ticket. So, as a reward for making him laugh, I guess. So all I had to do was go get my inspection done. But I was, but yeah, I don't really miss those. I don't miss safety inspections. I've had cars declined for a bunch of dumb stuff. Like, my 280Z, my old Nissan, it got dinged once because it idled too fast. And the guy was, but while we were sitting there, it dropped suddenly. While I was idling, the RPMs dropped suddenly. And so he's like, oh, well, let's see if it stays down. If it stays down long enough to register on the thingy, then I can let you go. And I was like, yeah, this is so dumb. It's like, windshield wipers. That's another one. I once got, now sometimes it's useful because I once failed an inspection because the rotors on my my brakes were so thin. He said they were like knife blades. And he was right, because when Mr. Lifeguard changed them, one of them fell and cut him on his wrist, and he still has a scar from it. So they were right. They were like knife blades. So maybe safety inspections are good. Alrighty, last one. Then we'll cut all these notches, and then we'll tape and fold. Oh, and I need to, on the one that I'm using as a template, I need to get another one to do the template. All right, there we go. All right, so now I'm going to cut my little notches. The reason why is if I use my chomper for this one, I have to fold this back, and it's going to notch this here, and that shows. That shows on the piece. So this way, this piece stays straight, and the notch is only on the center back. Well, Fran says I just use the chomper on mine because it doesn't bother me to have the extra notch. Yeah, it's up to you. It depends on how persnickety of a crafter you are. It probably wouldn't be even noticed by anyone who wasn't another crafter. So yeah. Since my next car is going to be my last car, I'm going to have to make it a good one. Oh, I have a question for those of you who are in the Facebook group. When you sign into the group, do you see the thing about chatting, or do I have to turn it on for all of you? I'll show you what I mean. Facebook groups. Okay. Oh, it's not showing on my app, so it's only, it must, oh no, here it is. Introducing messenger rooms for groups. Getting the group together has never been easier. Create a room and members will be able to hang out on video instantly. You can manage rooms and who can create them in group set. Oh, so it sounds like I have to do it. Or do I not have to do it? Because I was going to say that you guys can, if you want to use this to make little crafting parties, I don't have a problem with that. So, but I don't know if it's like turned on for the group or if I have to do something. So if anyone knows, let me know. Oh, right now it says anyone in the group can create a room. So it sounds like you guys can just do it if you want to. So yeah, if you want to use that to make crafting parties and have crafting parties with each other, go right ahead. Go right ahead. And if I need to do something else to turn it on, then hopefully there's a way to let me know. But because I saw that and I thought that would be a good use for it. And you could motivate each other. And work on projects together. Okay, so Jill says rooms is in the options on the group. So it does look like I turned it on successfully. Okay. So I've notched all my pieces. I don't have an avatar either, Bev. Okay. So now we're going to put tape on the back of this flap that's by the notched part. And then on this flap, it's the tape goes right here and right here. Right here and right here and right here. Okay. So now we're just going to be taping away. When is the next album making celebration day? Oh gosh. Really, there isn't one until the closest thing would be Black Friday. Because we already had card month. Is there a National Glitter Day? Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I tried to make an avatar, but I got I was trying to make it good, and then I got tired, and then I just canceled out. So. Google says National Glitter Day is August 26th. So there is a National Glitter Day. There's a National Everything Day. There's a National Pickle Day. Which I really like pickles, so I'm okay with that. August 26th. Maybe we can do something. I am making the waterfall pockets for Page Style B of the Catch a Tag Remastered album right now. And I'm just, one of the things that was voted on with this album is we would just do all the construction in batches. So instead of doing one page completely from start to finish, we would do all the pages of that style from start to finish. So I am making 12 of these because I think I'm going to need 12. If I don't need 12, I'll need 9. So at least I will not have to like stop what I'm doing and make more of them. There's a National Glitter Day and a separate National Sparkle Day. There's a Toasted Marshmallow Day and a S'mores Day. This is just silliness. Although, I guess you could be sitting around toasting marshmallows. But is there like a Roasted Hot Dog Day? Because probably. So, as you can see, you're taping the opposite sides, okay? So you're taping the opposite sides. So you don't want to be able to see this tape when you're taping the corner. Well, but if there's a Toasted Marshmallow Day and National Lost Sock Memorial Day, now so Pinellas County, which is the county that is St. Petersburg. So if you know anything about the geography of the Tampa Bay area, there's like a peninsula, there's a bay, and then there's Tampa. And so on the peninsula of St. Petersburg, and then over here is all the Tampa area stuff, separated by the bay, so you can see them from each other. So Pinellas, which is the county next to us, they decided they're going to open movies and bowling alleys early ahead of the rest of the state. So I think they've had enough of being inside. So if I really, really, really wanted to go to the movies, I could drive to St. Petersburg. So like our state is, different parts of the state are opening at different rates because areas that are hotspots are not opening stuff. Areas that were never hotspots are opening. So mostly it's been like the whole state is opening X, except for Miami-Dade, Palm Beach, and the one that's Broward. And those three are all in a cluster, and that's the West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. And they're the ones that have been where the main concentration of cases in our state have been. So they're kind of excluded from reopening. So, but then St. Petersburg just announced that they're just, to heck with it, they're going to go ahead and open bowling alleys and movie theaters early. So we shall see. Our movie company, the theater that's near us, which one of the reasons we chose this house was how close we were to our favorite theater, how close it was to our favorite theater. That's done us a lot of good. They declared bankruptcy, but they did it to protect their employee paychecks so they could restructure their debt. So they think that they'll still be around after. So I hope they will. Yeah, that is a cool idea, Melanie. Melanie says one of their sports stadiums is being repurposed as a drive-in. That is a good way to repurpose a sports stadium. All right, I know. This is so exciting. This is the one problem with doing all the construction at once. Is it's kind of boring. But what can I do, you know? Until I get a Sue Scrapper. You have to wear a mask if you go out. Okay, so our county thought about doing that and then decided not to. So we never got to that point where it was mandatory. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to fold along all the score lines and burnish for these corners. It's much more fun than watching paint dry. That's good. And then I'm gonna, you know, put on the score line. All right. And I need to take, I need to order an antibody kit from, I think it's Quest Diagnostics who has it. Maybe it's LabCorp. I don't know. Someone has it. Because we were so horribly sick in February, if you remember. But we hadn't been around anyone or been anywhere where we could have gotten the flu or RSV, which is what was going around at the time. So it was suggested that we should take to see if we had it, since it, I am going to miter the corner, but I'm going to do that all at once after I'm done taping all of them. So we shall see if we have had it. That's on my to-do list. But when I was reading up on it before, do I really want to know? Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't bother me to know. Well, it would be useful because if they find out that you are immune after you've had it, then you don't have to worry as much if you have had it. But yeah, we were horribly sick. I mean, we were so gross that intern Liz stayed at hotels some nights if she couldn't stay with friends, because she didn't want to come home. So oh, can you, Melanie? I'd have to ask about that because I got booted from the Red Cross for some vaccines I had and some travel I did. So I can't give blood. However, like to the blood drives, but I wonder if I could give to something like that. Same with Mr. Lifeguard. He's had some travel that excludes, and some vaccines that exclude him. So and that's like us in March. It's oak season here, and it's just terrible, terrible. Everyone during oak season around here is coughing and wheezing, and everyone was going around saying, I'm not sick, it's just oak. It's just oak. Okay. Thank you, Priya, for looking that up. Almost there. We're almost there. Well, we have, so, you know, we have just tons and tons and tons of oaks. And so, because oak oaks, because of their root system, can be sort of hurricane proof. So like palm trees are hurricane proof because they're bendy. And, yeah, it's a cardstock. You use a lot of cardstock in this, but you do get a bunch of photos, and you don't use a lot of pattern paper. So it's that's the trade-off. Not much pattern paper. All right, so yeah, so they planted a lot of male oak trees, and so the pollen is just bananas. Bananas. Okay, so now we're gonna miter the corner on all of these. Oh no, I have to. I didn't do all my taping. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So yeah, so they have tons of male oaks, and they just like just blanket everything in the most disgusting, horrible pollen. It's just awful. And they have the added benefit of they kill grass. So I think it's like an acid thing. They're so acidic or something. So they kill all the grass around them. So it's one of those things where it's like, I guess it was like a good idea, but we probably should have just planted palm trees. But yeah, the oak is just awful. Awful, awful, awful. Like just going for like your afternoon walk around the neighborhood, and you can be wheezing just from how much pollen you breathed in just walking around your neighborhood. I'm so thankful I don't have allergies. Oh, yes. Allergies are terrible. Especially if they activate your asthma. If you have like allergic asthma, it just really can be awful. Well, the trees need to be, so what I've read is that they need to plant female trees. And then what will happen is the female trees, they have sap. They, instead of putting out pollen, they put out sap, And when the pollen from a male tree blows past a female tree, it collects in the female tree's sap. But the reason that they don't plant female trees is because they have acorns. And then acorns are like they're a hazard because like if they get on the sidewalk, people trip on them or slip on them or whatever. So that's why they don't plant. That's why they don't plant female trees. And so that's why everyone's allergies get worse and worse and worse because they plant more and more and more male trees all the time. All right, so now I just cut straight through that intersection so that we can have the corners meet up instead of, and they drip sap on your cars. Yes. Yeah, so there's a lot, so they just don't plant female trees. But it's one of those things where it's like, well, you know, there are some people where allergies can be deadly. So, you know, everything has trade-offs. Are we making the right ones? Oh, do I have a kitty? Do I have a cat sneaking around? There might be a cat sneaking around in here. Yeah, trees can be male, female, or both. Tiny has forgiven me. So I think Tiny and I are chill now. I think the cat that's in here is Kitty though. It definitely sounded like, let's say a denser cat. Either that or it's Tiny and she's back there with some weapons and that's why she sounds heavy. Kitty. All right. So now I just have to do one last thing. Just kidding. I have to do like two last things. Gotta chomp this corner just so it's easier to fold it in. And then we have to cut the thumb pole exactly, Fran. That's the other thing we have to do. That's why this isn't the last thing. See, Fran's on it. Fran's on it. Yeah, I just want to move somewhere where there's no allergies. That's on my to-do list. My allergies were not as bad in Miami as they are here, but oak was not as popular in Miami as it is here. Palm trees were much more popular. So I just have to get rid of these palm trees. We just have to get rid of all of these, or I have to get rid of all these oak trees. So that's all. Just have to get rid of all these oak trees and I'll be fine. Be like, oh, I'm just gonna go around the neighborhood with a chainsaw and chop down people's oak trees. I'm just trying to find where I put the notch chomper. Here it is. All right. So now we just are gonna we're gonna chomp notches. So what I'm gonna, these get traced on the back. Now Kathryn hates birds and the trees they live in. Darn tootin'. Darn tootin', I hate birds and the trees they live in. Look, if they want to live in a palm tree, they can live in a palm tree. But if they want to live in an oak tree, then sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Does Mr. Lifeguard have allergies? No. He does not. We had this, when we lived in Miami, we had only palms all around us. And we had this one woodpecker that was like trying to build a house in a palm tree. And I guess palm wood is really hard for woodpeckers to peck through. So it took him freaking forever. And we were just like, give it up. She's never going to marry you. So well, we eventually got rid of it by printing a picture of an owl and posting it in our window. So is Kimberly trying to figure out what to do with her paper scrap problem? My rule of thumb is if it's 4x6 or bigger, you can keep it with the other papers from that collection, like if you have plenty of them. But if it's smaller than that and you're done with the project, it doesn't belong to a project, you should get rid of them. Okay. So now I'm going to punch all these holes with my 1-inch hole punch. And then these will be done. Unless it's cute, and then keep it. Oh gosh, don't listen to them. All right, so once I punch all these, then I'll be able to, if you make cards, you can keep small, well, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but there is a use to keeping smaller ones if you make cards. And you can make quilted paper. Actually, what you should do is make 12x12 quilted papers. Just cut them all into 1/2-inch and 1-inch strips and make Franken paper all afternoon, one afternoon. And then they'll all be 12x12s. And you won't have any scraps. All right, so now we will fold these over. That sounds like a Zoom party idea. See, you can use the Facebook group thing and have a scrap party in the Facebook group, and you could even mail each other your scrap pages. So you each have new ones. You could swap them. And you can make layouts using nothing but scraps. If you are into, what's that company? Scrapbook Generations. They have a lot of sketches that use little small pieces of paper for layouts. They could be a good resource. Frankenswapping. Yeah, you can do some Frankenswapping. Well, you know what I say, always use your best stuff first. That's why that way you're always using your best stuff. Don't save your best stuff and then use some stuff you don't like as much, because by the time you get around to using it, it'll then be stuff you don't like as much. So these cats, let me tell you about what jerk weasels they are. So, you know, well, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but when we moved here, I had to change how I put everything on my desk, and I put my microphone in such a place where the cats couldn't walk from my paper trimmer up onto my desk without squeezing under the microphone or through it. And they were really unhappy, and they would just sit on my paper trimmer and stare at me and cry. So I bought a boom arm to hold my microphone so that I could swing my microphone up off my desk so they could walk unobstructed from their little paper trimmer over to the desk. And since that has happened, they have tried to visit me 0 times. 0 times. So the lesson here is there's no point trying to make cats happy, because they will never be happy. They don't care. They just wanted to see if I would fix it. They liked it the way it was. Now they hate my desk. They miss the challenge. Priya's always like, she's always taking the high road with the cats. Priya's like, maybe they just haven't absorbed the change yet. And, you know, they just need time to adjust. It's like, no. That's exactly right, Ellen. They were in a we don't like this move rebellious stage. Exactly. That's exactly what it was. All right. Well, no tiny cat to play with our little scraps. How did they do in the car when we moved? I almost died. Well, first we tried to move them without putting them in a car, and they tore me to ribbons. So then they got put into a cage, and then they cried like all of their best friends had just been murdered in front of them, and we were taking them to be murdered as well. So, and that nothing would ever be okay again. That's literally That's what happened. So when there was someone that they could attack and try to murder, they were fine. But I didn't enjoy that. So then they got put in a cage, and then they acted like total trauma queens. We moved around the corner. I know, they're so dramatic. They're so dramatic. And the worst part is when we moved them from Texas to Florida, they didn't cry at all. They were fine with being in the car. They had, I mean, and when we would get to hotels at night, they would just pop out of their little cage and run around and check stuff out. And the first time we stayed at a La Quinta and they had carpet, they were like, their brains exploded with joy. They loved carpet so much. And they were just happy, happy, happy. And then we tried to move them around the corner and they were like, no, we're being murdered. We're being murdered. Someone help. We're being murdered. They're teenagers now. That's really what it is. All right. So now we can put these in the book. So the first one goes straight down right in that corner. And then the next one, you know, gets lined up with it, and then we go up. So how is Mittens? Well, Mittens and Kitty went at it last night, but I don't think their hearts are in it anymore. So I think they're just like in a behavior pattern where they feel like they have to do this, but they don't really want to. Because it was very half-hearted yowling. But Tiny Cat doesn't like it when Kitty and Mittens fight. So Tiny Cat runs in and tattles on them now. This is a new thing, which we are not enjoying. Because in the off chance that we got to sleep through Kitty and Mittens yelling in the backyard, Tiny Cat comes in and wakes us up. So that's good. That's fun. All right, so that goes down. And then we just keep going like that until we have 4 of them down. Tiny is worried about that. Tiny's the narc, exactly. Tiny's the narc. Nobody likes a tattletale. Snitches get stitches. All right. So now I'm just going to put, I think I'm going to put a piece of black cardstock here, maybe. So to fill in this top. I mean, we could get a 5th one on there. Although I'd still have to do something to fill it in because see, we have that little bit of pattern paper showing. So I think I'll just keep it to 4, but know that you could get 5 on here if you really wanted to. And then these will fold over and hold them shut so they won't flap around. Oh my gosh. How cute. How cute. All right, so it's super adorable. All right, so let me finish the construction on the other 3, and then we'll do the photo mats, and then I think we'll probably have to decorate these next week. But these closures are so fun, and it's still an envelope. It's still an envelope. So only on this show would we talk about Cthulhu, tree sex, and snitches getting stitches. I love the belts too. Be careful with this first one down that you don't cover the score line on the belt. Because that what you don't want to, if you put the pocket over that score line, then you won't be able to close your belt, and you don't want to run into that situation. This would absolutely be a cute standalone page. You could also turn this into a folio using the National Scrapbook Day technique with so if you watch the Project X folio videos from National Scrapbook Day, I talk about how to turn a page into a folio by adding a wrapper. You could absolutely put this in a craft text wrapper and make it a folio. In fact, you could even make this out of craft text and have this be your wrapper. A quarantine belt can't be closed. What I see earlier, if you're having trouble staying away from the fridge, start wearing your swimsuit instead of your pajamas. I was like, yeah, that would do it. Although I have to get a swimsuit because I don't have one that I like very much. I want kind of a more boy shorty casual one, with a tank top where I can just throw on the shorts and the tank top and then just go read the Kindle in the pool kind of a deal. So I need to figure that out. But so yeah, I have a pool now, so I need it. I've been wearing a bralette and a pair of boy short underwear that are thick enough to do the job. So it's been working, but it's really not ideal. So well, I'm totally fine with skinny dipping, but my backyard, our house is on the corner, and one side of the pool faces the street, and it doesn't have any hedges or any fence, nothing. So you can see straight from the street into the pool. And we've even had the UPS guy came back there once because he had something that required a signature, and he saw us from the road when we didn't answer the door, and he turned the corner to go. So he stopped on the street and came back there. So it's very much open to the world. And so I don't want to get a citation. I don't want to traumatize Mittens. That's true. Mittens doesn't need to be any feistier than Mittens already is. Or Beth taking pictures of me, posting them on Facebook. Fran's never getting over that. Open access to the back of my house. Well, no, not exactly open access to the back of the house because we have a pool cage. So the back of the house is in the pool cage. It's the smoother side, Joyce, or not Joyce, Judy. So one side feels slicker, smoother, and one feels a little rougher, sandier. You want to put the ink on the smoother side. Yeah. No, so our house is not open. What's a pool cage? So in Florida, it's really common if you have a pool to put a cage over it. It's an aluminum cage, and it's strung in between the aluminum bars. It's all screen, and that keeps stuff out of your pool, so you don't have to clean your pool. And it keeps neighborhood kids out of your pool. That's the other thing. It keeps people from getting in your pool. To keep bird stuff and tree stuff out and to keep kids out. So yeah, but it's very common to have cages around pools in Florida. Bugs, frogs, lizards, toddlers, leaves from trees. But sometimes bugs and alligators, yes, it keeps alligators out. Sometimes bugs or lizards and frogs get in there in the cage, and then Kitty just catches them and brings them to me. So it keeps mosquitoes out if you swim at night. Yep. Keeps most of the bugs out. Keeps lots of bugs out. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's basically like a giant screened-in porch. Let me see on my phone if I have a picture that shows the pool cage. Oh, here I do. All right, so that's it right there. So this is our backyard, and you see the bars, and then in between all those bars are screen all the way up on the roof as well, so that it's screened on the roof as well. And so you can still see out, and you can still see in, but like the pool's always clean. Yeah, you can swim when it rains. The rain falls through the screen a little bit, but it's more misty. Like, it does get broken up by the screen a little bit. Okay, so now what do we need to do? We need to make photo mats, right? I don't even, it's like as soon as I finish a project, I forget it, everything about it. I'm like, does it give you funny tan lines? It would, if you were like laying out in a, like on a chaise or something, you would need to be careful. But if you're moving around, it's fine. But you wouldn't want to like lay. Okay, so we need the tags, and then we need photo mats for the back. So we need 12 tags and 12 photo mats. I did have project text in between. Thank you, Fran, for making excuses for me. I appreciate it. All right, so we need 12 tags and 12 photo mats. So and let me get a piece of Epson printer paper. Oh, just make sure. I gotta get the right Epson paper. I have so many. Glossy, ultra premium luster. Do I not have any ultra premium matte? Epson matte. Okay. Is it a requirement to have this around your pool? No. Some people don't have them. Although I guess in some HOAs it might be. I'm just feeling the paper. So on the Epson matte paper, there's one side that's slightly shiny and one side that's not shiny at all. So like this side, there's no sheen. And on this side, there's a slight sheen. I don't know if you can see it on camera. You want to print on the side that has the sheen, the shinier side. But it's good to have. Well, I wonder, yeah, because the neighbors that don't have them do have, at least the two neighbors that I have that don't have them, that don't have pool cages, they do have fences. So it might be a requirement to have some kind of enclosure. I'm trying to think if any of our neighbors had any pools that were just like flapping in the breeze. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3 for the photo mats and 1, 2, 3 for the tags. All right. Time to 5x7 pinwheel. And then for the tags, we're gonna 4.5-inch pinwheel. So 3 of them are gonna be 3 of them are gonna be done with the 5-inch pinwheel at 5, and 3 of them are gonna be done with pinwheel at 4.5. Pinwheel time. I'm just using normal cardstock. I just got that the Epson paper out to answer a question. So I'm not this is just normal cardstock. This isn't the type of cardstock that would go in a printer. I mean, you could print on it, but it's not designed for 12 by 12 printing. Koala finally came back in stock, so I was able to get some more koala paper. Yay! All right, so that's 2. I can keep track by the number of squares I have, so I know this is my last one of the 5s. Remember, you can do any size pinwheel as long as the 2 sides add up to 12. So 5 plus 7 equals 12. So you can do a 5x7 pinwheel. Just put it at the smaller measurement and then cut up to the smaller measurement. So you put it at 5, you cut up to 5. This makes 5x7 pinwheel, 5x7 cards. Now I'm going to put it at 4.5 and cut up to 4.5, and that's going to make 4.5 by 7.5-inch cards, so that I can make the tags out of those. Because I think the tags are like 4.25 by 7.25. You're so hungry. You need a snack. You need to hide like biscuits or Luna bars or something in the room where you watch the show. Or float the idea of Thursday night takeout. We do Thursday night takeout. Mr. Lifeguard switched his Thursday schedule with someone so that he works 3 to midnight now. So we've just designated Thursdays as takeout. Yeah, takeout or leftovers, because... All right, so Now we need to cut these down to their appropriate sizes, which is these longer ones are 4 1/4 by 7 1/4, and these shorter ones are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And now everyone's posting what they had for dinner, and it's all very exciting stuff because of the current situation. We had a Postmate bring us barbecue, so we actually had a pretty nice dinner. And she was fast. Like, she must have been in the barbecue parking lot or something. Like, it was bananas how quickly she got here. I wonder if there's just a lot more Postmates with people who got laid off from like their restaurant jobs or something, trying to find something to do. So, but this barbecue place is out of corn muffins 100% of the time. And it's like, look, if you're always out of corn muffins at 6 o'clock, maybe you need to rethink how many corn muffins you make every morning. Like, come on. Or just offer corn muffins as a lunch special so you're not irritating people who are trying to get corn muffins the rest of the day. Corn muffins are probably not as, they're a little more moist than cornbread. All right, so those are 4 1/4 by 7 1/4 now. So I'm going to cut these to 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. So very similar, but the corn muffins are usually a little bit moister and a little bit sweeter than cornbread. In my experience. So today Mr. Lifeguard ordered the new XLR converter, and he ordered me the kind of microphone that spin class teachers have so that it can go around my head and I don't have to wear the apron anymore, and I won't, like, you know, accidentally brush the microphone with paper that I'm flipping through or anything like that. Oh, so that'll be good. It uses the same, you know, it's the same pack that the lavalier uses, where I can still walk around the room and you'll still be able to hear me, but it just won't be on my chest anymore. It'll be on my face. All right, that's why my mic is working fine tonight, because I ordered another one. Yes, exactly. Of course. Of course. Tofu is good in stir fries. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp all these, or I won't stamp them. First I have to turn these into tags. That's why so my bike is working fine because I ordered a new one. Whatever the broken component is, it sensed that it was going to be replaced. Where will you clean glue off if you have no more apron? I know, maybe I'll just have to stop being a savage and like use a like a baby wipe or something. Like stop being gross. Although that's no fun. That's no fun. Okay, so now hopefully I have a template for the tadpole in my bag O templates. I do. Well, or like when you have an intermittent problem with your car and when you take it to the repair place, it refuses to do it. Just make sure you wear your crafting pants and wipe the glue on them. That's true. Maybe I should just have a pair of pants that I leave in the craft room all the time. Although they would probably get terrifying pretty quickly. Because well, I mean, they wouldn't be any grosser than the apron, I guess. But they would probably get stiff because the part of the apron that I wipe the glue on. But what if you craft naked? Then I guess you just have to put a towel in your lap so you can wipe your hands on your towel. I actually just ruined a pair of my Aladdin pants, my sister calls them, which are like kind of my bumming around the house pants. They're cuffed. They're kind of blousey pants and they're cuffed at the ankle, so they have kind of like, I guess, like an Aladdin look. I just ruined a pair of them helping my sister make a white chocolate sauce, and she splashed it all over my pants, and it just, all the cream in the sauce, I couldn't get the oil out of the pants. MC Hammer pants, yes. They're very balloon pants, yeah. Exactly. Those are the vibes. You've got the vibes. So, yeah, all the oil from the cream, all the fat from the cream just stained. I couldn't get the oil stains out. So, I was going to turn them into rags, but maybe they will become craft pants instead, since they're ruined. All right, so I punched 1/4 inch holes in all of these. Ultimately, I need 24 of these circles. And then I'm going to punch 3/4 inch holes around them. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to bother me if they get stiff because they're already wrecked. So I won't feel like I'm ruining a pristine pair of pants. Liquid, you know, dish, Lisa Annie, and now you say that, I'm thinking dish soap probably would work too, because that's made to get oil and grease off of stuff. So I've got 2, 4. It's even better than Dawn. Wow. 5. Okay. Jill takes off her daytime PJs and puts on her nighttime PJs. But I got my sister a pair of her own MC Hammer pants for her birthday, and she wears them around the house all the time too, because they are really comfy. You know, they're not exactly fashion forward, but they're comfy. I heard MC Hammer became a prison minister. All right, I'm just doing 2 at once. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I need to do 2 more. No, you don't have to wear bras. That not during the current times. Ah! Well, those 2 flew away, so I'm going to have to make a couple more. Weekend bras for when someone stops by. Company bras. I got my company bra on. All right, so now we're gonna put these on, but yeah, so I can use those, but it'll be a while before it shows up anyway, because luckily there hasn't been a run on spin microphones since the everyone started working from home. But there have been runs on, like, we can't replace my camera, for example, because it's sold out everywhere and people are selling it for like twice what it costs new. Oh no, that's very naughty washing machine, Jill. If someone stops by without calling first, they don't deserve a bra. He's part owner of several companies, MC Hammer in Silicon Valley. Good. It's good to diversify, you know. Cameras are out of stock everywhere because everyone's working on their TikTok career. Funny. Cindy, you know what? You can forget it like as soon as a more interesting random fact comes along. You just keep it around until something better comes along. All right. Or you may randomly be at a dinner party, someone brings up MC Hammer, and you can be like, you know, MC Hammer has a lot of Silicon Valley investments these days. And then everyone will be like, oh my gosh, Cindy is so well read and informed. What doesn't she know? Oh gosh, everyone's coming up with. We say that about you, Kathryn. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Deb. I took it as a compliment. Kathryn does know some weird stuff, though. I mean, I don't know that much weird stuff. I think everything I know is just to the side of useful. So it's not useful, but it's like, it's almost useful. It could have been useful in a slightly different world. You know a lot of diverse stuff. Thank you. Thank you. Jody, enjoy. Have a wonderful weekend. You are the partner everyone wants when playing games. So we recently played Trivial Pursuit with my sister. By recently I mean Christmas. So around Christmas time, and we played with my parents. There was the original one that it was in their Airbnb. And we knew it was the original one because all of the answers to questions that are in Russia, they had all the Soviet names for things like Leningrad and Stalingrad, and instead of Moscow and St. Petersburg, and so that kind of stuff. And we played that, and that took approximately 5 million years because you had to know trivia from from when the Soviet Union was still around. So, that took forever. And then, so we got the Ruby edition, which is supposed to be like all the years that Trivial Pursuit's been around mixed up so that you can play with multiple generations of people and it's kind of equally unfair to everyone. And we found out after we got that Trivial Pursuit was my sister's boyfriend's favorite game. And so we got all together to play it. The four of us, Mr. Lifeguard, intern Liz's boyfriend, and myself. And the suggestion was made early on that to play in teams, and I was going to suggest couples teams because I thought that if my sister and I were on the same team, it would be wickedly unfair, and because we both grew up in a house where trivia was prized, so we both know a lot of stupid stuff. And but before I could say it, they being Mr. Lifeguard and the boyfriend, suggested gendered teams, and we destroyed them completely and totally so quickly that my sister's boyfriend no longer likes Trivial Pursuit. So yeah, if you're gonna play Trivial Pursuit and they're making teams, try to get on my team or my sister's team because you'll probably win. Yeah, that'll teach them. But I will say that the Ruby edition is pretty fun. So if you find like the blue Trivial Pursuit is kind of hard, like try the Ruby one because then you can kind of pick your decades that you're getting questions from. It helps. All right, so now if I get on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I can be your lifeline. I'm pretty fast at Googling too. One of the Jeopardy winners said he had a trivial mind. Yeah, I think there is some strategy, of course, involved in Jeopardy, especially with how you bet. But I think navy. Oh, I need black. Yeah, that's true, because in a drinking game, I do need someone to drink for me because I have very, very low tolerance for alcohol. So I can't really hold my own. I'm only going to stamp one side of the tags. And we'll just make sure that's the side that shows. But, so yeah, I'll let you, hopefully this time next week I'll be able to tell you how the one went, which is the book about how they can tell who everyone's one perfect match is based on genetics in the future. It's a mystery thriller sort of book, so I think that someone's probably going to get matched with someone that is sketchy in some way. Possibly a murderer. Fran says she only stamps one side because they might want a journal on the back, which is the best justification for single stamping ever. I tried to play Trivial Pursuit Book Lovers once, but that one is brutally hard. Like, you have to be a librarian, I think, to be any good at that one. Not just a book lover. So what I'm doing is I put these at the 6 1/4 inch mark, and that way I know that my well, maybe my brain will work next week for the whole show and not just part of the show. That's how I know that my stamp is lined up and is not going to be in the part that shows. That's what I've been trying to say. So just going to use this baby wipe to clean up some of the excess ink. And then I can do the photo mats. And then we can tape them and ink them. And then we'll be ready for next week. We'll do all the decorating so that all the decorating will be in one video. But again, these are 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats. These pockets were designed to have... Nope, I lined it up with the corner. The grid paper doesn't need to be there. What I use the grid paper for is if I need to move the stamp, you know, that can kind of help me figure out where to put the stamp. But I just line it up in that corner there. We're still going to do peaches. So that'll be right after we finish page style B. Then we'll do the peaches. So next week we'll do all the decorating for page style B, and then if there's time, I'll show you how to make the peaches. And then after that we'll be, you know, decorating the peaches, figuring out what inserts we're going to put in the peaches, if we're going to put anything in the peaches. Got to put the closure. So there's still a lot left. There's still a lot left of this book. Doing the cover. So we'll be all right. There's plenty to do. Plenty to do still. And then the big one. And then the big one. Whew. That'll be stressful. I have a feeling I'm going to regret remastering the box set as a gigantic album. I just have a feeling. What are peaches? Peaches are a type of folder where the pockets are on the long sides instead of the short, the bottom, so that stuff that's in them can't fall out if you pick it up or put it down upside down or sideways or something like that. And the company is Peachy, or they're called peaches because they're peach in color, or they used to be peach in color. And they used to have, yes, exactly, they had sports players on them, Cindy. I don't know what they look like now, but back when I used peaches, they were peach in color and they had like basketball players on them and stuff. But the pockets are on the sides so that if you pick them up upside down, stuff doesn't fall out. So that's the real kind of benefit of a peachy. You can still find them. That's funny. All right, so now we'll just tape these. I'm going to do them 6 at a time, I think. So we'll do 2 rounds. They are vintage. There's something that people who are about to buy their last car remember. Like a folder for school, yes. Yes, very similar to the Trapper Keeper folders. The Trapper Keeper folders had the pockets on the sides so that the rings would still fit in the Trapper Keeper. They're a neat idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to do... Peaches are fuzzy. They didn't have that kind of plasticky sheen on the outside like the anything Pen Tab made. Wow, from 1943? Oh, wow, wow. Well, they were still around back when I was going to school, which was not 1943. Although that's probably when my sister thought it was. Yeah, I used them in the 80s. So, you know, they were around in the 80s still. You can order a 5-pack from Amazon. Of course you can. So yeah, we're going to make, in between the pages, we're going to make peaches. The box set, each book in the box set books are going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 7 by 14. They're going to be extra long. They're going to use the infinity binding. I wonder if it's a regional thing, Jill, because we always called them peaches. Definitely they were peaches. They weren't, I mean, they were folders, of course, but we called them peaches for sure. So yeah, the box set, the books in the box set are going to be in the vicinity of 7 by 14. So they're going to be big, but they're going to be skinny. Yeah, I was using them on the West Coast as well. So I'm wondering if now peaches is a West Coast thing. Like Coke versus soda versus pop, you know? They are in the Smithsonian. Oh, how funny. Well, maybe I should be buying my last car if the type of folder I used in school is in the Smithsonian. Maybe she's right. All right, so just gonna tape these now. In Arizona, we just called them folders. And we would draw on them and turn the sports ball players into other things, like put little outfits on them or stuff like that. But yeah, peachy is what we're going to be making. So in the one book, in the first version of this, in the portrait version, we put that expandable pocket in between them. In this version, we're going to put a peachy. And then you'll be able to put your school papers in there. We'll probably come up with some inserts, you know, that kind of stuff. All the well-off kids at my school had Lisa Frank, you know. That was kind of the, if you wanted to impress people, you would impress them with your sparkly unicorns. Yeah, Lisa Frank. I think there's a Lisa Frank hotel or something. Okay. All right, so we've got all of our photo mats, and I am going to get it. Let's see. One, two, three, four. I'm going to put 4 of these in each pocket because we're going to put them on the backs of these when we do the decorating. But I am going to put the tags in the pockets. So we can get a little bit of an idea of how the finished so that's going to be really cool then with the tags on, and then we'll have all the colors on the pockets themselves. So this will be really cute when it's totally decorated and finished. It's just going to get cuter. It's just going to get cuter. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to put that in here. Well, I thought I would be able to get all right. Oh, these are going to be even cuter. And like I said in the previous class, if you're doing the portrait version of this, you can still make this band. You just make it longer. You know, just make it a couple inches longer. And that way it will it'll fit. So you could absolutely do this same style of band on the pages that are like this, where it has all the things going down the side. Absolutely, totally could. You just want to make, like I said, just make it a little bit longer. And then we'll put these in here and they'll be ready to go for next week. So here are our 3 page style B for the landscape version of the Catch a Tag Remastered album. So when we come back next week, we'll finish decorating these. We will decorate the pockets. We'll put the pattern paper on the front. We'll put the photo mats on the back with the strip of pattern paper, and we'll finish off the pages. But we've still got a lot to go. We've got to think of what's going to be the insert in the envelopes. We've got to make the peachy. We've got to make the spine. So even though there's just the 2 page styles A and B, there's still a lot of construction to go. But I am happy with how it's coming together. And then of course we still have to decorate the page style A's as well. So there's still a lot to do in this book. We're definitely going to be working on it for a few more weeks. I don't know why I keep thinking we're about to finish it. We are not about to finish it. But it is super cute. I am very happy with it. It's fun to work with these bright colors and the school theme. So I think we're going to have a lot of fun designing the peachy inserts. So everyone have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful class. I'll be back on, or a wonderful weekend, a wonderful evening. I'll be back Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time. To continue this album. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful evening, wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.